March 30 to 31st, 1990. Eastern Belgium. A sequence of nights in late 1989 and early 1990 had already filled local newspapers with reports of strange triangular lights and silent objects over towns from Eupen to Liège. On that spring night, civilian witnesses, police officers, and military radar operators were all drawn into the same unfolding event, one that would force the Belgian Air Force to scramble F-16 interceptors, generate formal investigations, and leave a record of radar returns and eyewitness testimony that remains controversial to this day. The Belgian UFO wave of 1989 to 1990 is an unusually well-documented case because it produced not only hundreds of civilian reports collected by the civilian group SOBEPS, the Belgian Society for the Study of Space Phenomena, but also concurrent military attention. SOBEPS cataloged written witness statements, photographs, and audio interviews. At the same time, the Belgian Air Force logged radar contacts at their ground stations, notably at Glans and Semmerzak. The convergence of civilian testimony with military radar tracking turned a local curiosity into an official incident. On the night of March 30 through 31st, 1990, several police patrols reported luminous objects in the sky over the province of Liège. Multiple civilian witnesses described a large, triangular configuration of lights, low and silent, moving slowly and then suddenly accelerating. Belgium's air defenses were put on alert. According to official records and later reporting, F-16 aircraft were scrambled to intercept unidentified targets detected on ground radar. The radar sites, Glans, a military radar installation, and Semmerzak, an air traffic control radar site, recorded contacts that correlated in time and location with the circulating eyewitness accounts compiled by SOBEPS. The documented evidence includes written police reports, radio logs of the intercept, SOBEPS's collected witness statements and photographs, and radar plots held by military authorities. SOBEPS published a dossier summarizing hundreds of reports from ordinary citizens, local police, and municipal officials describing low-flying nocturnal triangular lights, sometimes punctuated by sudden speed changes or abrupt disappearances. Military documentation shows that the Belgian Air Force tracked radar echoes that behaved atypically for conventional aircraft. Targets appearing on radar, changing speed and heading, and in some cases accelerating beyond the capabilities of known manned jets at the time. When the F-16s were vectored toward the radar contacts, pilots attempted intercepts under orders to visually identify and, if necessary, report. On at least one occasion, radar controllers reported that a jet's onboard radar briefly acquired an echo matching the ground radar contact before the target disappeared. The official military records and subsequent interviews with SOBEPS investigators indicate that pilots were unable to make clear visual identification of a conventional aircraft, and that the ground radar returns ended suddenly, with targets vanishing from primary radar. SOBEPS's published materials include civilian testimony describing a large triangular craft with 3 lights and a low, almost hovering flight before leaving at high speed. As the investigations progressed, the case escalated from newspaper curiosity to national debate. SOBEPS's compilation of eyewitness accounts and photographs gained widespread attention. The Belgian Air Force held inquiries and issued internal assessments of the events. Scientific critics and skeptical commentators proposed conventional explanations, astronomical bodies such as bright planets and stars, optical illusions, or misidentifications of conventional aircraft and helicopters. Proponents of the inexplicable emphasized the simultaneous radar and visual reports in the F-16 intercept attempts, the existence of correlated radar data, ground station plots, and interceptor radar locks became the central tension. If the targets were simply stars or flares, why were they generating discrete radar returns that correlated with visual reports and prompted fighter scrambles? The most significant documented finding is the documented radar visual correlation reported by independent sources. Glans and Semmerzak radar logs show primary returns at times that match civilian sightings collected by SOBEPS. Military operational records confirm that interceptors were scrambled and that pilots reported difficulty obtaining visual confirmation despite radar contacts. SOBEPS' dossier contains multiple sworn or recorded statements from police officers and civilians who described a triangular formation of lights moving in ways they considered inconsistent with known aircraft. These combined elements, civilian testimony, police logs, and military radar incidents, created an evidentiary triangle that made the Belgian wave stand out among late 20th century UFO cases. But the record is not without contradictions or gaps. The Belgian Air Force's public statements varied over time. Some officials suggested misidentification of celestial objects or atmospheric phenomena as plausible explanations. Skeptical researchers argued that radar returns could have been spurious echoes, anomalous radar propagation, or artifacts from ground clutter. SOBEPS insisted that the volume and consistency of eyewitness reports, combined with the radar data and interceptor activity, merited a genuine, unexplained classification. Importantly, the raw radar tapes and full technical logs have never been widely released into the public domain in a way that independent scientists could reconstruct the exact sequences recorded that night. That absence, the inability of independent researchers to analyze original, unedited radar data and full cockpit recordings, remains one of the strongest unresolved questions in the case. The implications of the Belgian wave reached beyond local curiosity. For the public, the episode intensified interest in ufology across Europe and gave credibility to claims that certain UFO reports could not be dismissed as folklore or simple misidentification. For the military, it raised the issue of how air defense organizations should respond to anomalous air traffic that appears on radar but cannot be visually identified, particularly in peacetime. SOBEPS' prominence rose markedly. The group compiled a comprehensive public dossier that framed the wave as more than isolated sightings. For scientists and skeptics, the incident became a test case about the reliability of eyewitness testimony versus the interpretive challenges of radar phenomena. For policymakers, it posed a question about transparency. How much radar and interceptor data should be declassified to allow independent analysis of aerial anomalies? The largest documented contradiction remains the same one that first caught attention in 1990. Simultaneous radar contacts and eyewitness reports that match in time and place, paired with interceptors unable to conclusively identify the targets. If the contacts were equipment malfunctions or atmospheric phenomena, why did trained operators at multiple installations record usable echoes? If they were known objects misperceived, why did police officers and pilots report behavior inconsistent with conventional aircraft? The Belgian Air Force's public summaries stopped short of pronouncing a definitive solution, and SOBEPS' materials continued to present the events as unexplained. Today, the Belgian wave of 1989 to 1990 stands as a measured, well-documented anomaly, a sequence of events that crossed civilian and military reporting systems, invoked formal intercept procedures, and left a trail of logs, witness statements, and press coverage. The strongest unresolved questions are concrete. Where are the original, unedited radar tapes and complete cockpit recordings for the night of March 30 to 31st, 1990? Could independent analysis of those raw data confirm, clarify, or disprove the accelerations and abrupt disappearances reported in secondary sources? What technical explanations, if any, can fully account for the pattern of simultaneous ground radar returns, onboard radar contacts, and coherent civilian reports describing triangular lights and rapid departures? And finally, how did official procedures and interpretations at the time, within the Belgian Air Force and in civilian investigative groups, shape what evidence was recorded, retained, or released? The documented record ends with these questions rather than answers. The events themselves remain fixed in official files, witness testimonies, and SOBEPS' public dossier. The unresolved core, a radar visual convergence that produced an armed intercept but no conclusive identification, continues to invite scrutiny. For investigators and the curious alike, the Belgian wave asks a simple, persistent question. When multiple, independent reporting systems detect an aerial anomaly at the same time, what does that convergence truly signify? And who will open the full archive to let science and critical inquiry test the claim?